All right, my brother, my sister, here we are again. And today I am gonna be talking about the fact that I am still trying to figure out what to talk about. This is something that makes me question why I'm doing this. Because, if I'm in front of a camera and I'm telling you that I am trying to know what I'm gonna talk about, it actually makes me sound like I'm doing this for no reason. But let me explain to you that there is a reason for this. And what I'm doing here in real time is why I just put myself in front of a camera without even knowing what I was going to do or talk about. So, what I'm doing right now is called transmission. Let me explain to you what transmission is or channeling. What I'm doing here is I am putting myself in a flow state where I am allowing myself to be in the present moment and be vulnerable in the fact that I am not trying to display myself as an authority or someone who knows or has a knowledge or something to sell you. And I'm here just talking and letting things develop until they become uh, something of value. And if you've already noticed, this has already become something of value. Not because what I'm saying up until this point is starting to create a certain type of meaning, but because I created value for myself, because I put myself in a position where I allowed myself to fully express myself without feeling like I need something in return. And this is what channeling is about. Yes, there are many types of channeling, and we often attribute this word to something very spiritual, very otherworldly. But the reality is that most people channel, everyone channels. It's just a matter of how we let our minds filter this channeling. This is what our minds do, you know when we have certain ideas, certain inspirations, what tends to happen is these things, it almost seems like it comes from our heart and it reaches our mind. And our mind starts processing that inspiration, that idea. And oftentimes, more than not, what is going to happen is we are probably going to find some blockers within our mind that are going to stop us or prevent us from moving forward with something. And this is what many people call limiting beliefs. But let me tell you something, there is something that happens before our inspirations tend to reach our limiting beliefs, which is the idea that we created the belief that those inspirations, they need to go through our mind and be processed there. When, you know at least for me, and I'm talking about my process here, is I've realized that the inspirations that I get, they don't come from the processing of my mind, they come from another place. They come when I'm doing, when I'm dancing, when I'm talking, when I'm listening, when I'm doing something that allows me to create a certain movement inside me. And maybe that's because my type of energy is I tend to have a very racy mind. And once when an inspiration enters that whirlwind of thoughts, it almost gets lost in it. It gets lost in this amount of heavy things that I carry in my mind, all these processes and mental models that are structured in my psyche. And if I let my inspirations um, try to allocate themselves or find a place inside my mind, I realize that it's almost like my structured mind is not able to correctly process my inspirations. So this is why I am very, or this is one of the reasons I am very attracted to the idea of simply putting myself in front of a camera and actually simply speaking my truth, because I feel like this is a way for me to express myself without being or feeling locked, feeling constrained by my mind, which most of the times it's what happens to me. I feel constrained by my mind. You know, I am someone who does not have lots of friends. I actually don't have any friends. I don't talk to anyone. And I have a tendency to first of all, I don't have social media outside of YouTube. I don't have any pictures in my cell phone other than my cat, but even those pictures I tend to delete them in a span of 90 days, because what I feel like happens is I allow my mind to overanalyze my life, and not only my life, but my relationships. And this analysis makes me kind of needing to retreat myself a bit, because I spend so much time, or I tend to spend so much time analyzing my life that I forget about living it. And this is not something that I consider a complete evil in my life, because I feel like what is poison can also be a cure. And I feel like that's probably gonna be the same thing for you. You have your own experience where you you have a way of processing certain information, you have a way of looking at the world that people don't understand. And let me save you years of struggle here by telling you that most people will never understand you. And maybe while you're hearing me, you are saying, look, man, I get what you're saying, but I'm still struggling because this is hard as fuck. I cannot do this. It's hard to be alone out here. And let me tell you something. If that's where you are right now, then that's where you need to be. Feel the struggle, feel the difficulties that you're having at the moment, because again, what is there to do in life if not to experience everything we can? Do you really think that life is only made of good feelings? Why do you think that even the highest spiritual masters, they take on suffering to help other people? That's because they know that, or not they know, but I'm not going to talk about what they know or they don't know, because, I'm not them. But what I do know is that I get bored when things get uh, stable. That's me. Of course, I am someone who likes to pursue stability, not not only in financial terms, but also in my mentality, in my spiritual sadhana, in the way that I like to live my life. Of course, I'm always striving for more stability, but what we need to understand here is, in our striving of stability, what's gonna happen is we are gonna be on a certain wavelength. And if you visualize a certain wave and you zoom in a little bit in your wavelength, you will see that even though you are reaching a more and more stable version of yourself, even though in those moments, even then in those moments, you are going to be um, perceiving more instability, or relatively an additional amount of instability. And how is that possible, you might ask? Well, uh, when you are striving for stability, especially in your spiritual sensibility, what is going to happen is you are going to become more sensible. And the more you increase your capability of perception, not only a perception around you, but a perception of you, you are basically going to be increasing the capability of your lenses where in which you use to view the world and yourself. And of course, when you increase the scope of something, you are going to notice more noise and more distractions. Of course, noise may not have the same effect on you behaviorally speaking as it used to do, but you are still going to be perceiving that. And that's part of life. So, what I've been realizing and feeling for myself is that it is part of life to go through these periods of instability, of suffering, of not knowing what to do. Because, to be honest, sometimes the answer is really simple. First of all, that there is no answer. And second of all, that would you really prefer to always know everything at the right time? This thinking is what takes the magic out of life. Life is something beautiful. It is a novel. It is something that is constantly being developed. It is the story that most has plot twists and pivots. And it is a simply beautiful creation. So in our moments of pain, there is the opportunity to allow our hearts to be opened and to be in a receiving mode of aspirations and blossoming. And so, if you if you if you need to take anything from this video, take this. Let yourself blossom by not trying to determine what is it that you should be experiencing right now. Pull yourself out of that thinking mode and simply let yourself be. Take a deep breath. Feel, put your awareness in your heart, in your feet, in all your chakras, and simply be present, simply feel. I wish you the best. See you later, my brother and my sister.